The Gdańsk History Museum is the largest museum in Gdańsk. This is the story about Gdańsk told from the perspective of its history, the present, the future, but also from the past. There are not only a great number of splendid relicts, attractive museum pieces, exhibits, educational activities, but also scientific research. The Gdańsk History Museum and its branches are places not to miss when visiting Gdańsk. You have the chance to experience the centuries-old traditions of powerful Gdańsk. The Gdańsk History Museum is full of inspiration and excitement and goes beyond the image of all similar institutions. The Gdańsk History Museum consists of 8 branches. These branches are one of the most valuable and representative architectural facilities in Gdańsk, which represent and illuminate the past of our city. Each facility presents monographic exhibitions which will leave any visitor with a clear and vivid picture of Gdańsk and its history. We would like to invite you on a journey through the departments of the museum. The main town hall is our first stop. The building was designed by the master architect Heinrich Ungaradin from Lübeck, who also drew up the plans of St. Mary's Church in Gdańsk. The top of the town hall tower is adorned with statue of one of the 2 founders of Gdańsk. It is worth mentioning that only 2 Polish kings were bestowed with such an honorable title by the townspeople of Gdańsk. The first one, Kazimierz Jagiellończyk, was honored with a statue which nowadays is located in Artus Court. The other Gdańsk benefactor, Zygmunt August, had his likeness placed at the town hall tower. The iron statue, which was richly decorated with gold, was designed in acknowledgement of the king's services. Artus Court was the center of our city. It was the heart of mercantile, gallant life, and what is more, it was the most representative part of our city. It has remained unchanged to date. The unmodified version of Artus Court in Gdańsk is said to be unsurpassed and special due to the fact it still fulfills its original function. But Gdańsk is not the only place in the world with Artus Court. The one originating from Gdańsk is the only genuine version built centuries ago, as the other ones work just as institutions. If you find time to visit Artus Court, you will be enlightened by the wisdom of former inhabitants of Gdańsk. OHagan House is like a time machine. We can go back in the time to the 18th century, where we can observe how the wealthy used to live. Previously, buildings looked similar. Lands measured approximately 40 to 50 square meters, but in the center of Gdańsk, like at the Długa Street, where the OHagan House is located, plots measured 70 to 100 square meters. The Amber Museum started from scratch. We had neither collections nor objects to exhibit. Since 2000, our collection has been purchased, borrowed and donated from amber collectors or antique dealers. Thanks to the joint effort of the town's authorities and museum representatives, an enormous collection of showpieces worth millions of zloty has come into being. The machinery behind me is the brain of the pulsar clock of the Tower Clock Museum. You may wonder how the signal from pulsars is picked up. It's as if you were flying in an airplane over a huge metropolis full of lights, billboards, flats, and trying to notice a small candle hidden behind a garbage can. It's not that simple. We wanted this clock to be in St. Catherine's Church, close to the grave of the famous astronomer Hevelius. When everything was ready, we noticed that some radio telescope antennas are placed exactly above Hevelius' grave. Is that a sign? In Polish Post Museum, not only can we find a vast amount of evidence of cruel assault on the Polish post, but also the heroism of Polish employees who laid their lives down in 1939 to defend the post. The museum aims not only to show postmen as employees, but also as people with passions, loving families, as members of various clubs and associations such as the Polish Community and the Poles from the Free City of Gdańsk. The Vistula estuary fortress stands guard at the entrance of the port. It was like an emergency population warning system, preventing sea attacks not only against Gdańsk, but also against the rest of the country. If invaders wanted to attack, they had to overcome the Vistula estuary fortress first. It resembles the Atlantic Wall, but with Gothic origins. Visiting the Vistula estuary fortress makes you feel like you have traveled back to time, 18th century. Guard post number 1, established in 1933, is one of the branches of the museum. The building is constructed of reinforced concrete rails. The Gdańsk History Museum is an extraordinary establishment. Historical reenactments are very popular among adults and children. The most frequently staged reenactments are taken from the Napoleonic era. They also focus on various engagements between English military units supported by Polish soldiers and French units attempting to defeat the Prussian garrison deployed in Gdańsk. Each of these events are watched by crowds of up to 8,000 spectators. Representatives of the Gdańsk History Museum try to change the way people perceive conservative institutions like museum. We have created totally a new image of such institutions by organizing exhibitions or conducting research. We emphasize that museums should illuminate the past, but also look at the world today and also into the future.